All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do an example of the research right now. And I took myself off camera for this because I wanted to share it to your screen. So let's do this example for weight loss as the first one. And we'll do a couple examples. So which by the time you're watching this, those will already be there and you already know that. But, probably do like maybe real estate and something for freelancers or biz op too. Let's start with weight loss, okay? So going back to honestly, generally you just sort of know. I know this is not the greatest thing you're gonna hear, but you kind of just know. So whose weight loss is primarily female, primarily ages. It's all ages, but really you're probably targeting 30 plus females between 30 and 60, 30 and 55. So I'm gonna put that for now. Females between 30 and 55 years of age. And generally, they've got at least 20 pounds to lose. I just happen to know this stuff. If you don't know this, we'll talk about that in a second. But you can also look at... so if I was going to Google that, what would I Google? Weight loss market demographics. I'm basically just going to open a bunch of this stuff right now and see what I can find here. That didn't do a ton for me. I mean, it's worth noting this whole $72 billion, the market's increased. But I just want to see if there's anything about the demographics of who normally does this stuff. Not yet. Yeah, so this isn't super surprising, but you find right here, 73% of men in the United States are overweight compared to only 63% of women, but membership in weight loss programs are dominated by women. An estimated 90% of Weight Watchers members are women. Long and varied discussion. And that's about it there. How about hearing any diet trends? I think if you kept digging deeper here, you could find some stuff. But let me actually see if I can log in this thing. I'm going to show you guys another hack real quick here. All right, well, one thing you can use is Somewhere Web. I guess I don't have my membership to it right now. And what's really annoying is you have to try to I wanted to for example, what I would do is go to Weight Watchers, right? So if I'm there, I see, okay, 33 million visitors since December 19th, which is pretty interesting. But it's down from last month. Combination of desktop versus mobile, which is really interesting. Monthly visits, 11.30. Visit duration, pages per visit, bounce rate. So actually pretty engaged website. So to me, that's interesting, and I probably would want to kind of go through Weight Watchers and look at this. I want to do, over here, I'll actually show you demographics, but it's age distribution, gender distribution, all of that. For whatever reason, with stupid Somewhere Web, I have to request somebody to reach out to me and do a sales call just to sign up for this. I think if you've never done this before, you can sign up for free and get that access early on. But I have to literally ask somebody to do that. So that's super annoying. But there's probably other tools like that as well. But that's where I would go to find this sort of information. I'll probably try and do an addendum to this where I show you some additional resources. But for now, let's not get too bogged down with that. All right, anyway, so what attitudes do they have, right? Well, let's just look at, again, I'm really just going to start going to like forums, like weight loss forums. And so all I'm doing is I'm going to take the first couple pages here that I find, and I'm just going to open them up in new tabs. kind of interesting. This is a homesteading forum, but they talk about weight loss. It's kind of interesting. I'm gonna look at that. It may not be the perfect match, but yeah. But you can see there's a ton of these forums anyway, right? So let's look at what we got here. This is weightloss.fitness.com, but they show up really fast. So I also make sure it's active, and it is. So weight loss of health conditions is kind of interesting. Newcomers. So I'm opening new tabs here on topic. Advanced weight loss. Diet and motivation is interesting. Weight loss diary looks great. Before, after, in between is really interesting. Weight loss programs is really interesting. I open this off topic just to see. So let's see here. If I'm in here, so next thing I'm going to do ideally is, if I can, I don't know if I can do it with this one, I generally want to sort by view, or actually I would sort by replies, because I want to find the threads that are the most engaged. Views are pretty good, but I'm really curious about replies from an active standpoint too. What's cool with views, by the way, though, is if you're trying to find subject lines for email creatives, and if you go to these forums, you can basically pull out, like, if something's got a lot of views, it means people are clicking on it. So like you could just steal some of these and do them as like subject lines, right, based on how many views they have. So for example, help with losing weight is actually a little boring. I think it's just an old one, and that's probably why it has so many views. But drinking water for weight loss, there's something you could probably do with that. How to lose extra baby fat faster, kind of an interesting one. But there's a lot of interesting things you can pull from that. But again, what I'm most interested in is on replies as well, because that means people are engaged and active and all that. So I'm going to open this one. Help with losing weight. Calorie burning foods is kind of interesting. Curious about this one, so I gotta open it. I want to lose some weight. It's kind of cool because there's intentionality, so that's why I'm picking that one. Easy diet for weight loss. PCOS is going to come up a lot. I'm not going to explain that right now, but yeah, so here's a belief. Okay, so look, by the way, actually this is a really important part. You don't necessarily need to do all of this in order, so I'm going to just start pulling stuff here. So you've got Kate who says, drinking water is good to lose weight easily. Even research has shown that by talking up to 8 glasses of water will help you burn fat. You gotta love grammar in forums, and somehow this also got tens of thousands of views, right? But okay, so why is that important? Like, well, what is the market already using? Looking at their beliefs and stuff like that. I mean, one could be like drinking water. It's a good way to lose, or drinking water. I guess you just put it like that. Drinking water. And what I'll probably do here, by the way, is I just kind of subcategorize these. So if I'm going to do drinking water, I do it here. Drinking water. Here. Here. So forth. That way I can kind of like, assuming that this is actually a good thread, I can find more stuff here. So drinking water, right? All right, what do I like about drinking water? Natural resources. Kind of interesting. I drink a lot of tea, or I really drink anything when I'm out. So like, going back to some of these questions here, what is the market, what has your experience been like drinking water? Maybe like hard to remember to drink much when you're out. This one's kind of interesting, right? Water makes a huge difference. I've been dehydrated for most of my life, sluggish, always tired. My face had little teary bumps around, under the skin. I forced myself to drink water. I was never a huge fan. And I also had a squeeze of lemon lime or added my favorite fruit to a big pitcher of water and kept it in my fridge for the week. Also, bringing the bottle of water wherever you go is super important. I was so sidetracked before and forgot to hydrate myself. Ever since I started drinking more water, I am more energized, my skin is completely clear, and I have lost the puffiness in my face and water retention. So this one is a great one. This is kind of what we're looking for, right? So here's a belief about, one of the existing solutions, right? Yes, like water, drinking water. And I'm literally just copying and pasting it, as you can see here. So that's great. But also, so sidetracked, I forgot to hydrate myself. So for that, I would probably go to, you can probably put this under like what they dislike about the existing solution too. I was so sidetracked before that I forgot to hydrate myself. Again, hard to, I mean, I'm okay with putting it in two different places, right? But ever since I started drinking more water, I am more energized, my skin is completely clear, and I've lost the puffiness in my face from water retention. So I'm going to pop that there. But what do they like about the existing solution? Perfect. This is like not the smartest girl I've ever seen, but again, it's copy and paste this one in. She's like, I love water. I think I drink too much. But she's like, I kind of figured it would aid in weight loss. Isn't fat expelled through urine? Unless I'm wrong, the answer is that no, it is not. But let's still put that there. This person saying that drinking water is, you need calcium, so drinking just water is not a good idea, which I don't know what she's talking about. And again, we don't need this to be accurate. We just need to know what the market is talking about. And it's kind of interesting that there's this whole thread about this. Nothing to argue about calcium for a while. All right, so let's see here. See, this is interesting to me, what Ria Haraj says here. Water is good for health. There is no connection between water and weight loss. In fact, too much of water consumption could lead to water intoxication. You can try lemon tea, lemonade, green tea. The bottom line is to replace the mentioned beverages for dairy beverages. I think what she's saying is stop having as much dairy and have that stuff instead, which would make sense. But the idea of water intoxication, that's actually interesting to me, because going back to the mechanism stuff we're going to talk about of like which basically the spoiler on it is that it's like the root cause or the surprising reason why you're having trouble, and it could be something built around the fact that drinking too much water is actually making you feel crappy, which is actually an argument to be had there. And again, you don't want to tell people not to drink water because that's not healthy or safe, but it's kind of interesting. So yes, I like this one. So basically, too much of water consumption could lead to water intoxication. So going back to the belief about what their experience has been like, maybe something like that here. You put a little space there. And then for me, I'm probably going to highlight this water intoxication thing, just because I think that's really interesting, right? By the way, also, just from like a really empirical standpoint of like who is commenting, it's definitely, I think I've seen more women than men, but like there are some men as well for sure. But let's do a couple more on this water stuff. And then we're going to look, because I don't think the big mechanism is water, but I do want to just see like a little bit more of this here. It's an interesting belief, right? Drink a glass of water a half hour before you eat, and you'll usually get full on less food. Just pop that one in there too. So going back to, right, what the market's already using. All right, so that's interesting to me, but let's go on. What I'm actually gonna do too here, I'm gonna unbold those drinking waters. I'm gonna bold this stuff so that it's a little bit more clearly categorized because it's bothering me otherwise here. I'm gonna skip some of these bullets. So there's that one. Perfect. Okay, so that thread was, had some value to me about it. Again, we don't know, we've got a bit about who's your customer, the attitudes and beliefs they have. Let's just bold all of these so it's be easier for you to see where we're differentiated as we go. Okay, so that was just that one thread. And again, this was just about drinking water for weight loss, so it makes sense. It was an interesting thread, and it had a lot of views and replies. I think if we go back to the page, it was like 23,000 views. So it was actually one of the most viewed topics on this entire forum. Well, on this section of the forum. So even that is interesting because maybe talking more about water could be interesting to your demographic, right? Now you know that from going through here. And if I was going to do a weight loss product, my mind wouldn't immediately go to like talking about water. But for now, let's move on and see what other stuff's going to come up here. So this one, help with losing weight from Shaded Sock. I need some advice. I love my mom, and we usually have a good relationship. When it comes to weight, she just doesn't understand me. I want to go to a doctor to get an average weight estimate for someone who is my age and height, but my mom thinks that you can do everything yourself. She thinks that losing weight should be easy for someone my age, but I struggle so much. I'm guessing she's young. Actually, she's 13. I'm going to skip this one. I mean, I'm curious about some of the stuff that they're going to share. I think there probably is value in here, but just because they're talking to like a young lady, and I just think that it's perhaps it's not going to be as overall relevant. I mean, you'll hear actually, I know I just said that, but I'm going to look for a second here. Because, like, for instance here, I have been in your shoes and I still am. I've been struggling with my weight for as long as I can remember. I probably was about your size, if not bigger, at the age of 13. That was 10 years ago, and I cannot remember. My mom is not supportive of my weight loss. Ironically, she is way overweight herself. I will let her know my progress, and she barely recognizes and goes on with something about herself. She is very self-absorbed. My advice is to you, do not let anyone affect you during your struggle. This is your own responsibility, and no one will understand the struggle you are going to go through besides yourself. It sounds very lonely, but it's the truth. If your mom is not going to support you, then just ignore her. Do not let her put you down at all. When it comes time that she notices your weight is gone, just say, I know, I am proud I did this on my own. I remember when I was just starting out to be 18, I was a little brat, I had a smart mouth, and I still do when it's necessary. Just saying that people do not want to support you on, it doesn't mean you cannot do it. You don't need anyone to help you lose weight. It's a mindset thing. You just have to do it. I would stop drinking anything but water. Interesting, different forum. Completely. It'll make you feel so better. No more junk food at all. If you cheat one day, you are going to allow yourself to cheat again. For the stretch marks issues, I have tons. It's going to be a challenge to make them less visible. Most people have stretch marks on them somewhere, even the skinny ones. Don't let that affect you. Just keep going. All right, perfect. So that's interesting, this idea of like family not supporting them. So going back to, what outside forces do they believe have prevented them from living their best life? Well, what I put is basically, I'm going to put, so where am I start with this here? My mom's not supportive. Basically, so basically I'm going to put this copy and paste the stuff about their mom not being supportive. Because I think that's interesting. And again, I think the water thing is interesting that it's mentioned again here. This one's interesting too. I know how you feel. I've always been overweight. My mother was too. We both suffered depression, so our relationship was never the best. At 16, I lost a lot of weight, and my mom said it was only because I had a growth spurt. When we would go shopping together, she always told me that the clothes I was looking at wouldn't fit me. Don't get discouraged. I let my mom get to me, and now I'm 22 and trying to lose a lot of weight. You're young, enjoy yourself. If you really want to lose weight, then don't go on a diet. Join a Facebook group like Ditch the Diet, who try to help you understand the foods you eat, and well, as the name says, ditch diets and just eat healthy instead. It's crazy how that's... But it's interesting, the story of like maybe somebody put like mom not supportive, right, as an outside for kind of thing that's prevented them from living their best life. So that's actually, interesting that we're uncovering that in this thread, because again, that's a great thing to be talking about in our copy. If you can find somebody and tell their story of how they were, like, their mom never supported them, and how some kind of story about an unsupportive mother, and how losing weight kind of helped them to stick it. Plus, almost all women have like a weird relationship with their moms. For every like one woman that I've met who's like, my mom and I are my best friend, there's like another 9 who are like, kind of at odds with their mom, and their mom drives them crazy and stuff. So it's kind of interesting. Let's see here. Actually, sorry, this is some stuff what they were saying, which I think is accurate about eat real food and all that. All right, so I got some good insights there. I don't see if there's anything else about mom sucking. Yeah, this one's pretty interesting. I've been the weight I always wanted to be for 15 years, and in hindsight, I did everything wrong prior to the last 15 years. I started worrying about my weight when I was your age, 13, and took any diet advice on board, and this made everything complicated, and I gained more weight. I always say now, it took me 10 years to lose 10 pounds because I thought weight loss had to be hard and complicated. It doesn't. When I finally went back to eating 3 meals a day that included fat to keep me full, and got busy doing the things I love to do, I lost weight. If you start restricting calories and fat intake, your body slows down its metabolism like a bear hibernating, and you store weight faster because your body is trying to keep you alive. Eat your 3 balanced meals with all the food groups and just make very subtle changes to your diet, and you'll notice that little things make a big difference, and you'll discover that what you can eat and like to eat in a weight that matches that lifestyle. You have to do things you can do forever in order to find a weight you can keep forever too, but don't do anything dramatic because it will shock your body. Just make small changes. It just kind of goes on from here. But so that's really interesting to me too. I love this idea of the first part of this, basically. That's like I did everything wrong prior to the last 15 years. I started worrying about my weight when I was 13. Took diet advice on board, and this made everything complicated, and I gained more weight. I always say now it took me 10 years to lose 10 pounds. I love that idea because it made things complicated. So where would I put that? By the way, for hopes and dreams, put up here, it's like losing weight. That's really obvious. I'm just gonna put that one. But you can probably put it as a victory, like, for one thing, right? Because she's like, I've been the weight I've always wanted to be for 15 years. So I put that there. Outside forces, no. Prejudices. Maybe, I guess dairy is bad. It's a prejudice, right? Dairy is bad. We noticed that in the thread. I think for what has your experience been like with other solutions and things, I mean, I put that quote there as well. And yeah. See if there's anything else. Oh man. Okay, it goes on. All right, cool. So getting some good stuff here. Let's move on to the next thread. This is calorie burning foods. I'm trying to verify something I was told recently. When we eat celery, more calories are used to consume it than are gained from it. Is that true? Interesting. It's kind of interesting. What about celery? Because it's like, someone asked, right? She said, I agree, it doesn't matter because celery tastes like ass. The only way to make celery taste good is to put a load of peanut butter on there or some type of soft cheese. Putting the chewing of celery and the actual tough thermic effective food from digestion, I'm sure the 5 calories in a small stick of celery is used, but again, you're stuck eating celery, blah. So it's kind of interesting. So what I put that, maybe as far as what they don't like about existing solutions, I may put like, eating clean, and just put the whole thing about celery there. But I think the idea of a calorie burning food is actually kind of interesting, right? The subject line of this one, or not the title of it. So where would I put that? Maybe under existing solutions. Something like calorie burning foods. So because again, that might be an interesting marketing hook or thing that I could apply, right? So for that reason, I'm going to pop that there. And then let's go on to the next one here. Losing extra baby fat. Yeah, that was boring. I want to lose some weight. Probably a good story here. Hi, I want to give it a second change to lose weight again. I'm guessing that chance. I have a mental disorder which makes going outside quite hard. So I want to do my workouts at home and do a healthy, balanced diet. Being fit and healthy is quite important to ease my issues. A few months ago, I stopped doing my workouts at home because my energy was so low and I was tired after 5 minutes of some exercises. I also did a diet with 1,600 calories a day at the same time. So a good change. That was one of the reasons that my energy was low that I just stopped. I always wasn't the most fit kid at school, so I was often holding in my belly so I would look slimmer. It wasn't a very great idea after all, because now my stomach doesn't look like that straight anymore and my underbelly sticks out the rest of my stomach, and I think it looks ugly and I want to get rid of it. Also, my hips, butt, legs could all lose some fat. Also, gaining some muscle is important to me. I don't want to be a big bodybuilder or something, but I just want to look and feel healthy and fit. I ain't looking for a workout plan, which is hard, difficult, and provides a fast lose of weight and improvement in strength. I'm looking for something which is easy to hold on and provides a slow but effective way of losing fat and gaining muscle. 19-year-old, which is a little bit young for our demographic probably, but my BMI is good. I think it's mostly because the balance of my muscle and fat isn't right. So, by the way, too, I know this person said they have like a mental challenge or whatever, but mental disorder. But I would just note, like with all the typos and things, like just remember this when you're typing your sales copy. It's actually a really important note because, like, I say this all the time. The average American, reads and writes at a 7th grade reading level. It's really pretty bad. And so when you're typing about stuff of like brown fat or adipose tissue, which is activated in your and your inflammatory pathways, it's like they have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. And it's not just with health; it's anything else. If you're talking about mortgages or investments or annuities or liquidity or whatever you're talking about, your market, you have to really dumb it down for your market. So as you're going through these forms, it's a really good reminder of that stuff, right? But back to like some of their pain points, I kind of like that. I wasn't always the most fit kid at school, holding my belly in. I like the idea, even this line here of like how, because they're holding their belly in, that now they think their belly looks like crooked, because I've never heard that before. That could be a really great line for some copy. So I'm going to put that in under maybe like failures, I think is where I want to put that. I think that's really good. And then I love this, like, right, what are they looking for existing solutions? Now looking at for a workout plan that's hard, difficult, it provides a fast lose of weight and improvement of strength. Like you were saying, that's easy to hold on and provides a slow but effective way of losing fat and gaining muscle. So I'm going to pop that into what they're looking for with existing solutions. Let's see here, what's their experience been like? What is the market already using? Maybe I put on their prejudices because they don't want, like, they think that plans are hard, difficult, all that kind of stuff. A bunch of people telling you what to do, solutions, which is interesting. Okay, cool. Interesting. I'm going to go through a few more of these threads, and then I'm going to pause it and probably fill out the rest of this just so that you don't have to watch me do all of this in real time. But I think the most important thing is you're getting what I'm doing, right? I'm going through and I'm finding a bunch of like people with information, and then I'm copy and pasting it. So let's go through a couple more of these kind of faster. I'll pause and fill some stuff in, and then we're gonna do part 2 where we go to Amazon, okay? So that being said, easy diet for weight loss. Start your day with lemon juice and honey and lukewarm water. This helps your body to get rid of harmful acids produced by the body. Pistachio nuts are the perfect snack for the weight conscious because they are high in protein, fiber, and healthy fats. Don't be fooled by the fat label either. The fat in pistachios is unsaturated fat, the brain and heart healthy type. I'm curious what other people said here. Yeah, I mean, this is from 2013, but it's funny because it's one of the first people. It's like pistachio is really one of the highest calorie things you could find. And yes, you need to pay attention to the fat label. Even healthy fat will make you pack on the pounds if you have too much of it. It's absolutely not true. But this is also pre-keto because you have to look at the date of this stuff. So I don't know how much I'm gonna get for this here. I mean, this person too is like no reason to eat breakfast at all, which is actually kind of true. But yeah. People are arguing about vegetarian food, vegan food. People worried about pistachios with calories. But again, whatever. We'll come back to that one. Oh, these are sub forums, right? So, by the way, have you noticed I'm still just on the first forum that I found? So, like, that's kind of a really important point too. Honestly, like, I will probably check these other things briefly. You can go down the rabbit hole forever, but I think just as you're going here, you sort of start to get a feel for everything that's going on and like what people are talking about and all of that. So sort by replies again on this one. See, by the way, notice that some of these of the replies, like these are like pinned ones probably. A comeback from 2008, pretty interesting. I do wish this forum was a little bit more recent, but there's still a bunch of interesting stuff here. I weigh 500 pounds and I am new. I mean, man, that's going to get a lot of views and replies than it did. Look at some of the ones with the most views. It's probably weird that Ticker Help has such a high amount, but lacking motivation, please help. That looks great. Ugh, man. My story and pictures, gotta click that one. A lot of these younger. I'd love to see these women now. And these pictures aren't showing anymore. But let's go through a couple more of these. So come back. Hi, not new to this forum, but I still have the same weight to lose as earlier. Lost a few pounds and regained it again. Well, but I am taking things positively and willing to dedicate to weight loss. All you people are a great help and rekindle hope. We'll post my developments here starting from next week, so here I come. By the way, like, look at these like old ass emojis. These are like the emojis before emojis existed. I think a lot of this is going to be just like, you can do it. There's no finish line. All right, let's just go through some of the topics, and I'm not going to go scroll through the rest of it because I want to like, I just don't want to bore you. If you have a loved one who is chronically overeating and endangering his or her well-being by doing so, would you seek to have a person involuntarily committed to a mental institution until they were no longer a danger to themselves? Oh, that's going to be a hot topic. All right, kind of weird. I know what this thing's about, so I'm going to skip that one. This one's crazy, right? Hi guys, I've been looking for a good weight loss forum. I hope this is the one I've been looking for. I'm 25 years old, live in Beaumont, Texas, and at my biggest point I was about 750 pounds. For the last 2 years I've been losing weight. Well, the last 6 months I've really been dieting, exercising, lost over 100 pounds. I am joining the forums for support to help my weight loss, maybe even help a few people if I can still struggle with my weight loss. But I am in it to win it, and my beautiful bride-to-be is by my side, and she's a smoking hot Latina. I don't know if I really believe this one, to be honest with you, but interesting, worth reading, hearing stories, especially about extreme weight loss, because if I could look for stories in this and potentially apply them here. So that's an interesting one. And I think I'm going to actually stop here. But I think you get the point, right, of where I'm going to go through and find stuff. I mean, as far as hopes and dreams, really, I guess you could talk about the 500-pound person being like one of their hopes and dreams, right, is like a minute to win it and all of that. But I'm going to go through and find stuff and fill it out a little bit, and then I'll come back and show you what I've got going on. Okay, so I'm actually back because, this is why we forum, kind of, in my opinion. Like, this is from March 2008, but basically this woman, who is probably just from this blurry picture, part of our demo, is, I just want to go through it with you, right? So, it's been a week since I became a member. So far, so good. I did not lose anything this week, but it is not bothering me. I wrote a letter to myself last week, and I keep it on my desktop. I thought it would be a good journal entry, so I'm going to attempt to copy and paste it here. February 25th, 2008. On to today's date, my measurements are arm size, waist, calves, bust, hips. So she has her measurements. But then this part. Today is the day. I've been wanting to change for a few years now. I've been successful in the past with an exercise program. I felt great and was starting to see the results in my size. The first attempt I was a 14 and made it down to a 12. But something always happened and I give up. I do not really understand because I was getting great joy from my success. One of the biggest problems for me is I really have to work hard at my weight. We have in the past spent a lot of time with friends that do not have to worry about their eating habits. The nights would be fun of fried food and drinks. I would have to be the different one and bring my own food or give in and eat what everyone else could eat. It always made me very angry and depressed that once again Tina was the different one. This is something I have had to deal with my whole life. I have struggled my whole life to feel normal. I have always struggled with school and weight problems. I always wanted to be like my sister, who all things seem to come easily to her. I admire everything she stands for and is able to accomplish. She too struggled for weight as a young girl. She is a lot different from me and is very determined and dedicated to a healthy mind and body. But today is the day I leave all this behind. I can make excuses all I want. I can be very stubborn and headstrong, and today I will direct the part of my personality to myself. I don't know what that means, but I need to do this for me and only me. I need to prove to myself that I am strong and will be able to accomplish anything. I want my husband to look at me with pride and say, this is my wife, and look how great she looks. Okay, that won't happen, but he will be very proud of me. He has always supported me in all of my goals. That is when I actually set them. I don't want to keep letting him down with failure. He does not care what I look like, I don't believe. It is really hard to keep failing. I want to prove to him that I can do this, that I am strong enough. Losing weight is a total lifestyle change in mind and action. So today I start with my mind. I want to set a goal of positive thoughts and actions. I am going to get signed up in some kind of program that will help keep me motivated. I want to check out online support systems, and I want to sign up at the Holiday Inn. Those are the two goals I can accomplish today. Let's see if she has anything else here. As you can see at the top of the page, this is the list of my current inches. It makes me very sad to see them, but it makes this journey that more real. The numbers themselves scream for change, and I owe myself that much. I can say I want to be a size 10 because that is what I was 7 years ago, but I do not know with my age if that is possible. I surely hope that it is, but I do not want to set a goal and I will only fail at. I am sick of failing. I want to be healthy and a smaller, fitter size than what I am right now. I'll keep going until it stops coming off the weight and be happy with that number. Who knows? I may be able to achieve an 8. I don't know if I was ever an 8. Yeah. So basically, just like this is like your demographic. And again, in fact, she's talking about her age, and I'm guessing she's in her, 40s, is like your demographic, if you're doing this weight loss offer, just like basically broke down their entire psyche for you, right? So, and a lot of it too, like the failure, the frustration, the stuff about like having the sister who lost weight but they couldn't, having the friends who can eat whatever they want, feeling like, weird when they go to their friends' houses who eat fried food and they have to bring their own stuff, the goal of going from a 12 to a 10, maybe an 8, doing it for themselves, the stuff about her husband, like how, she wants her husband to like, look at her and be proud of her. Notice that it's not about being sexy. I think when men write weight loss offers a lot, it's like how like, oh, and my husband thought I was like sexy again, and now we can't stay out of the bedroom. And it's like, sure, that's great, but you read with this woman, she's not talking about having sex with her husband. She wants like his admiration and respect and him to be like proud. So you just see all of this stuff here, and it's like that's all going to this research, right? What are their hopes and dreams? It's a bunch of this shit. What are their victories and failures? Well, not a ton of victories here, but the failures, like, failing, going from 10 to 12 and then not from 12 to 10 and then back. I mean, tons of stuff there. You could write out, married, sister, stuff like that. There's just this just one little thing like this is awesome. And by the way, I think she kind of keeps updating it here. She does. So I'm going to read through this. I'm going to pause it. But like, man, like that's just that. This gets me. You can hear I'm talking faster, and I'm a little more excited because like I just love this stuff with research. It gets me really, really amped. Okay, and another thing here, I'm going through now and I'm copying and pasting in stuff, right? So I'm for example, in failures, this woman and how she went from a 14 to a 12, but something always happens. And then these problems of how she gets angry and depressed, right? Things like that. But then up here I'm doing the hopes and dreams. And the whole part about I want my husband to look at me with pride and say, this is my wife and look how great she looks, right? So that versus like, what did I write originally for hopes and dreams? I put losing weight. And that's what a lot of people do when they're writing in copy and like they don't do research. Like, yeah, people want to lose weight, look good for their husband, look good for themselves, whatever it is, right? They just sort of guess, and then they're like, oh, I'll figure out what I'm writing, and like they don't. So it's like I did it with like losing weight, but what's better, losing weight or like I want my husband to look at me with pride and say, this is my wife and look how great she looks. Okay, that won't happen, but he'll be very proud of me. He has always supported me in all of my goals. That is when I actually set them. I don't want to keep letting him down with failure. He does not care what I look like. I don't believe. It is really hard to keep failing. I want to prove to him that I can do this and I'm strong enough, right? That's a lot better of a hope and dream than losing weight or losing 2 dress sizes or all that crap. So again, why research is so important. Okay, I'm pausing again for a second. So basically I'm on page 2. So this sweet woman has been sharing so much of her stuff. And if you look at the failures tab now, right? All this other stuff. Each one of these is like a different kind of a part. And you look at the victories tab. I've filled out a few other places, but it's mostly been her just really trying to be positive. But then I get to the first, post of the second page titled "Frustrated." I wish I could start the last 4 days all over again. I was thinking that my actions this weekend would not be all that bad. Boy, I was wrong. It's taking a lot for me to write this, but I need to hold myself accountable. I'm like, oh man, when I talk about failures, we're about to go deep on some failures. And this girl is writing the sales letter, a huge part of the sales letter for me, right? And she's writing it for herself, but I would steal it in this case. So I'm going to go through this, and then now we can do it together. Why not? Right. So I was sure this weekend was going to be a good one. Well, I went to work and did fine with my eating. I got out of work and back home at 8:30 p.m. and my husband says he would like to take me out to eat. At first I thought it was great. I want to cook. Back in my mind I was saying, you fool, look what time it is. So we went and I had 2 glasses of wine. We decided to share a couple of apps. So we got a spicy mussel dish. It was made of heavy cream, and they gave us toasted dipping bread for all of the sauce. With every bite, I knew I was messing up big time. I love that line. With every bite, I knew I was messing up big time. That could be like the start of a sales letter about not knowing what to eat or some kind of meal plan thing or something. Perfect. So after that, I chose to order a steamed dumpling dish made with pork, ginger, and it had a soy dipping sauce with that. I felt really good about those. They were the better of all the choices on the late menu. Oh, don't let me forget to tell you all the snacks they had out that I could not stay out of. And then on the way out, my husband ordered a grilled penny to go. So he to shoot me, so my husband suggested we swing into a local bar for a nightcap. Well, that was 3 beers later. So then we got up and shared the penny. We could eat anything in the morning. I just could not keep the bad choices to one day, so I had to continue on into the next. We did go for a long hike, and I really felt better about the bad mistakes, but last night I did not control my portions. I cannot tell you how angry at myself I am. Where is my willpower? I now have to live with the scale and my decisions. I really need to get it together. For the last 2 weeks, the scale has not moved, and now it did, but in the wrong direction. I am today going to do more research on eating well. I feel that I am not eating enough during the day, and when I eat supper, I overeat, and that was the way of the old Tina. I get so mad when I fail. I hope this week I can stay on track. So yeah, I'm gonna pull some of that stuff into here. I mean, let's see here. I'm gonna put this stuff about the apps and the bread, but everybody knew I was messing up big time. I'm gonna put that under failures. What else am I gonna do? The stuff about she couldn't keep her choices to bad choices just one day. This, I can't tell you how angry I am. Where is my willpower? I have to live with the scale of my decisions. Perfect. I mean, sucks for Tina, but perfect for what we're doing. Let me make sure I didn't, oh yeah, this line right here. I want to highlight that line, so I liked it with every bite. I knew I was messing up big time. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to go back and dig through a little. God, Tina is the best, right? Here's the next one. This week's post is so full of excitement. I finally see a change in my scale. I lost 2 pounds this week. I can't tell you how happy that makes me. I really have been good about getting my exercise in. I walked or jogged 5 days this week. The weather's gotten really nice. Blah, blah. So, okay, so that's a victory. So let's go up to victories. That's where we're going to spend most of our time. Well, that and some of the product stuff too, actually. But let me pop that in here. Perfect. Then this is kind of cool. She did some this mount stuff. I really want to get in better shape for my sister visits this summer. She wants to go for a hike in our beautiful Acadia Park. My sister is very fit, and I want to show her that I can do this. It may not be so easy for her. She is from Florida and runs on flat ground. In Maine, there is really nothing flat about the area I live in. So put that as back to the hopes and dreams, right? Getting fit for with a sister. I feel bad too because I think this poor woman. It's like if this was 2018 and she knew about keto, she'd probably be killing it right now. But it's 2008, so she's like, I'm so proud. I ate the smaller piece of steak. It's like she's just doing all this stuff that's just like not actually probably the best way to lose weight. But alas, that's the case. All right, let's see if there's anything else.
Unless you're gonna walk right into the sales page.
Okay, so I got through Tina. Tina's last thread, by the way, is basically she's feeling shitty when she's starting over again, and it just ends. So that's heartbreaking. But anyway, I think we can probably kind of wrap up a lot of this weight loss. I want to get to the next part, but I think you get the point here. You guys can go through this and you can see like how, oh my God, there's just so much good stuff. I mean, so then I think the challenge becomes, okay, how do you limit it to, not too much time, right? And I think, once you've got enough stuff here, like honestly for me, if I was really writing a sales letter right now, I'd probably take what Tina was doing and I'd probably have some ideas for additional. I mean, I spend another, half an hour after that going through some of these additional threads. I mean, there's just so many good things. And I'd probably go faster and just copy and pasting stuff in. And then that would probably be it. Because once I find a really good thread like that, I can so much of the copy is good. But God, there's so much good stuff here. It's almost like a spoil of riches. But I don't think you need to do an overkill. So again, I think if I have this filled out with enough stuff that my wheels are really turning, then I'm probably in a good place to stop it at that point. So again, this is for showing an example of how I'm doing my research, and we're going through a weight loss one so far. So you can see, again, we're going through the whole thread of Tina, all of that stuff and her journey, some other people's journey, right? We didn't really go too deep into like existing solutions. There was a little bit of that stuff. I mean, I could probably just put reasonably some of the other stuff here, like portion control, right? They're using that. Exercise, walking, hiking, running, watching calories, just kind of portion control, stuff like that, right? But like, okay, but here in the same thread, I want to get to Amazon, honestly. So we can actually just put like supplements. So especially if we're going to say we're doing a weight loss supplement, right? We'd want to hit that. And then let's do like courses, programs. Well, if I'm in here, let's go to, again, let's do the same filter of by reply. Actually, yeah, I want to do replies, but I do, because one thing you'll notice is see how a bunch of this stuff is more recent. So I'm interested in that, like protein sparing modified fast. I've never even heard of this, so I'm curious what this is because first opened in the 1970s. I'm just going to open this so I remember it. But like there's, when you get to the mechanism stuff, which I'm going to talk about after this research module, water diet, I just think, now everyone's talking about what they're trying. People would be discussing what they liked and didn't like about these solutions. So let's go by replies to start. I mean, Weight Watchers, Weight Loss Pills. See, these are so old. That's my only challenge with this. I might for this one actually go by last message. That one's pinned. And so some of these only have like one reply though. I still want to find things that have more replies. Here's what this Navy diet. Weight Watchers, by the way, still an ongoing thing. Let's see here. All right, let's do this. Let's go back to doing it by replies, but then I'm going to look for more recent ones. I mean, Weight Watchers is crazy how many people are talking about that. I want to find more recent stuff here if I can. There's probably so much gold I'm not even seeing, but I want to find more recent stuff. And I keep repeating myself, but interesting. This is like a little bit of a pain because, like, again, this form is so old. It's like I really want replies, but I really want recent stuff. I keep saying that, but it's because I'm like trying to will it to happen. The reason I want recent stuff is because I don't necessarily want to see a bunch of like what people were trying to do in 2008, 2010, 2011. I want to find out what they're doing now, right? So I hate to be annoying, but I'm just being real. I'm doing this in real time. I want to go back to last message. Let's do it that way. So let's see what we got here. A couple interesting ones. I was just curious about this protein-sparing modified fast because never heard of it before. Right, regarded by many to be the most effective way to lose body fat while preserving muscle and avoiding rebound binge eating due to nutrient deficiencies. First developed in the 1970s, the PSMF has been seen various permutations in weight loss clinics in the bodybuilding community. It's generally defined as a diet with adequate protein while simultaneously eliminating energy from carbohydrates and fat. Nothing really magical about it. You just pay attention to protein and energy deficit. And it has like a whole breakdown of some of the stuff of it. That was interesting. I wanted to see if that was a potential like mechanism for later on, but not really. People asking about recommended weight loss programs. So basically, one thing you're going to find here is going back to like what existing solutions work. People are all going to be listing out what they're doing and stuff like that. And then you'll probably have people talking about how, oh, I did this and I liked it. I did this and I didn't like it. Detoxes and cleanses. So basically, I would just go through and take all of this stuff and just pop that into like the existing solutions component. Makes sense? Cool. So I'm gonna pop. Hey, one other interesting thing for you guys as I'm going through this stuff too. And by the way, you'll notice that I'm filling it out more, right? I found stuff about Weight Watchers and wasn't for them. A little bit about the detoxes and cleanses, which I put in here. Have a little bit about with Weight Watchers here as well. But let's just call a spade here. This is 2011, and this woman's talking about doing a high protein, low carb diet, and basically, you know, it's not working for her. And then this woman comes in, and it's basically like, if your diet is severely calorie restrictive, for instance, 900 to 1200 calories, and you're trying to get into a fat burning state or ketosis, this will work for rapid weight loss. But remember that it takes about 3 days to get into that state, and one cheat will bring you right out. But my quick point here is just, they're talking about keto in this forum in 2011. Keto did not go popular with the mainstream until 2018, maybe 16 or 17. I'm not saying, hey, if you're like a health bro or broette and you're watching this, maybe you knew about keto, but keto did not get really big for another 6 years. So this is another reason why going through these forums is so valuable. Not like this is an old one, but if you can find new threads on stuff, you'll hear you can identify new trends like years before they're popular. Imagine if you were the first person to jump on keto, right? And you're in like the health industry. So just another reason why, yeah, like research is so important. Okay, and another thing for you to check out. So I'm kind of going to check out some of these other forums before I hit Amazon. Do that part for you. There's the city data one, which is interesting. It's a little bit older for a lot of these posts, but like wheat belly, why the fear of carbs, should my husband love me the way I am, fat acceptance, intermittent fasting, factor horseshit, Atkins reboot, now Time Magazine is on board. People are talking about paleo around here because again, the paleo came before keto. Why fat shaming is good for your health. I mean, there's so much stuff. Going back to a horror story, so I'm going to go through this, but we'll circle back on that in a minute. But the point I was going to make actually is beyond that one. This 3 Fat Chicks website, which is amazing, by the way. It's actually super active, right? And it's sort of weight loss support, but they have these subgroups of like the 20-something, 30-something, 40-something, age 50 plus. So it's like you want to talk about getting specific to your demo, like 40-something, sort by replies. BFF's getting healthy, 47 and no idea. I mean, there's just so much good stuff here. So yeah, you could just dig in, and then if you're targeting 30-somethings, do that, or 20-somethings, do that. But I mean, man, like I'm beating a dead horse here, but I hope you guys can understand why this is so valuable. Okay, but what we're looking at now, and I keep saying okay a lot because I'm pausing, so you don't have to watch me in dead time. But what we're going to look at now is, okay, like some of these existing, saying okay so much, but these existing solutions, right, and what the market likes and doesn't like. And we can get a lot of that from the forums, honestly, but I would also go to Amazon and I'd figure out, I'd look at products and we'll go and we'll organize that by 5-star and 1-star reviews. So, for example, let's pick a couple. I mean, supplements, sure. So let's try like weight loss supplements because we haven't really talked about supplements that much. Weight loss pills, great. I know Ali's pretty popular, so I'm going to open that. And what I'm going to look for here, by the way, is the reviews, but also the number of reviews. I want stuff with like more reviews generally. So this one's got a ton of reviews. This one's more for men, and I'm just going to assume we're going more for women, so that's why I'm not going to mess with that one too much here right now. Colon cleanse is interesting. I've seen these guys in the past. I really like the branding for these dudes, but that's probably a fine start. Interesting that apple cider vinegar keeps showing up as a side note here, because like people kind of got off apple cider vinegar, but it's still very popular on Amazon. So let's look at Ali, right? FDA approved weight loss pill that helps block about 25% of the fat you eat from being absorbed. Interesting. I've seen Ali a bunch. I actually didn't really know what it was, but let's go to the ratings and reviews. And then so, what I like about it. So I'm going to go to the 5-star reviews first, and then we go to the 1-star reviews. So this one immediately, right, like for this Ali one, is that this guy didn't believe his wife that it worked and took a bunch of it while following his diet, and then he like his stomach started gurgling and he like shat on the chair in the living room and had to clean the chair and shower. So even if this is a 5-star review, I'd probably be like putting this under, weight loss pills. So I mentioned. I mean, I should probably just do like this whole part of it, right? That's amazing. Oh, ally. Is that supposed to be? I don't know. But even like people are telling these stories, right? I'm a compulsive emotional eater. I've tried many different diets and can mix to my list. I have lost or gained the same 100 pounds over the past 40 years. Like, oh, okay, boom, that's great. Where are we gonna put that? Probably up here, because this is probably pretty indicative of who our customer is. But anyway, let's see. The first week I lost 4.5 pounds, down 3. Pretty interesting here. So going back to the weight loss pills, which are down here. Kind of interesting. So yeah, I think you get the point here. Someone else saying about never trusting the far. That's really interesting. That's people saying they took this thing and then had like terrible disgusting farts and poops, but it works because they're farting and pooping, which is kind of weird. I mean, whatever. So I would go through this one, right? Same thing with this one, which is a ketones one. I'm actually less interested in that, but this one I like because of the ratings. And go to the 5-star reviews, 1-star reviews, all the stories. And that would just be plugging all of that into here as well. I mean, as far as horror stories go, right, like taking a weight loss pill and then shitting yourself would be one. There's a ton of other ones. I probably get them from the forums over here. But as you can see, right, as you go through, you'll find, and I would just be copy and pasting all of these people's stories. Lost 6 pounds, blah, blah, blah. So that one I didn't have perfect. So again, you can just go through all these stories here. So that's how you add that to this part here. And her story of how, and this is back on the city data forums, which are actually great. Basically, her husband said he likes like petite women and all that, and sex life was great in the beginning, but she's been putting on weight now. She went from 100 to 150 pounds. He doesn't want to seem to touch me. He's always said he doesn't like a woman with a big booty. We're both black, and most of the black guys I know love a woman with a big rear end, not my husband. When we had sex maybe twice in the past 3 or 4 months, he refuses to touch me. He's brutally honest. He tells me he's not attracted to bigger women and that I've gained weight. I wear body shapes and girdles to hold everything in, but he says that's nice in your dress, but when you take it off, that's when the real me comes out. It's not attractive to see, and I put on about 50% of my initial body weight since we first met. I mean, this is kind of a fucked up story, but I'm definitely going to copy and paste this into the like the horror stories. It's not exactly about an existing solution, but it's still you could also put it as a failure, but I mean, that's a pretty good horror story. And then I'm sure most of the replies would be like, he sucks, but yeah. Let me see what else I got here. I'm going to pause again. This one's not like a punch in the gut story, but it's this woman's kind of chronicling her struggles of going from anywhere from 200 pounds to above 400 pounds, and now she's got medication, she's breaking her legs, and she broke her leg and then she couldn't be active, and all this kind of stuff. So I would still put that here. And then as far as like horror stories, you can also just Google weight loss horror story, or you could do like obesity horror story. So I just Googled that, and there's these horror stories about crash diets, weight loss horror stories. Yep. My alley diet pill horror story, when my ballast failed me. or ally, whatever it is. There's just so many things here we can look at, and you also do like being. Oh wait. Are very fat people? Horror stories. I mean, this is great too. 30 horror stories about dating while plus size. What it's really like to be fat and that hates fat people. All of this kind of stuff here, I would totally be taking that and plugging into the horror stories as well. So basically, if you think about that, by the way, we didn't really go too deep on curiosity or corruption. And I think that's okay. And we could, like, I would probably, again, you can look at the Ansel Keys stuff, the change of the American diet, a lot of stuff there. The whole idea of how Dr. Atkins tried, but then he almost had it right, but didn't. You could look at, like, low-fat, non-fat diet, why it didn't work. All that kind of stuff could kind of go in the curiosity section. And then from a corruption standpoint, you could, like, look at, like if I literally Google probably like places where obesity doesn't exist. Oh yeah, look, there you go. Here's your corruption. How paradise became the fattest place in the world. They're a remote and beautiful place many long to escape to. Sun, sea, serenity. The Pacific Islands have another reality for the residents living there. A life based on imported food, little exercise, and remote access to healthcare. The result, the most obese nation in the world. Honestly, for now, I would just plug that into corruption, right? I'm just going to save that link right there. I mean, that's like, you just fill that out with that, right? And you can also do like popular diets from the 1900s. Amazing. Look at this. The most popular diets of every decade since 1900 slideshow. Masticating. Just chewing your weight loss. Amazing. In the early 1900s, Horace Fletcher, also known as the Great Masticator, advised that food, even liquids, be chewed 100 times per minute before being swallowed, in order to strengthen the jaw, slow down the eating pace, improve digestion, and turn the pitiable glutton into an intelligent Epicurean. Fletcher's theories were accepted by the elites of the day, such as Upton Sinclair, Mark Twain, and John Rockefeller. And then the fact that counting calories started in the 1910s, amazing. So going back to this stuff, I'm just going to put a link here for this for now. This thing right here is literally going to give you everything. So cigarettes, not a great one. 1930s, grapefruit, bananas, and skim milk. Weight Watchers from the 1960s. I mean, that's a great question. Like, Weight Watchers started in the 1960s. Why are more women overweight today than they've ever been in the past? Diet Pillows and Sleeping Beauty diet. This is great. I mean, this gives you all of the answers, right? So yeah, you can answer curiosity. Really, it's as simple as Googling, and you just find interesting stuff, right? So that answers stuff on corruption and curiosity. Obviously, you would dive deeper if you were doing this yourself. But going back through here, I guess then I would just be like, as far as the prejudices go, it'd be that like some people are born with good genetics. Would be another one. Try to think of what else. We'll come back to that. We didn't go for religious, political, social, economic a whole ton. Honestly, I think that's because weight loss just like spans such a huge gamut. I think economic would be like willing to spend on solutions but tired of being burned. I don't think political, you're going to get anything. Religious, you're not going to get anything. Generally, family is important. That's one thing I noticed in a lot of this. Family is important. Back in prejudices, I would probably put something about their mothers, like their parents are the reason they had problems or why they still do. think that's important. Oh, if we're going to sum up their core beliefs about life, love, and family in 1 to 3 sentences. I want to lose weight, but it's always a struggle. I've had success in the past, but it never lasts. Family is incredibly important to me, but sometimes I feel like my own family doesn't support me. My biggest goal, actually, I know ultimately that in order to lose weight, it comes down to me and my willpower, but sticking to anything, to any diet program is just so hard. And a last thing here, I'm not 100%. So I showed you all the 5-star reviews. Like I meant to mention this, not if I did. Going to the 1-star reviews and then going back to what people hate about stuff, I'd be filling all of that out from here. So hopefully this makes sense. I'll give you a copy of this document. It felt like, honestly, kind of like a little long while I was doing this, but then I also felt like there were times where I didn't want to stop. But really, I don't know what time I started at, but probably around 11:30, maybe. So it's probably been like an hour and a half, really, that I've been doing this. And I mean, it's pretty complete. And realistically, if I was doing this on my own, I'd spend another hour on it. So it's like 2.5 hours of research. And I think by the time of that 2.5 hours was up, I would have had a lot of really, really, really good stuff. So hopefully you can understand why this is such a vital component here. And hopefully going through this can changes the way you approach the beginning of your copy. So this is R for research. I may include a few more additional examples, either by me or somebody else in this program as well. But again, this should give you a pretty good feel for what is going on with research.